What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's my favorite time of year. The winter is over. It's starting to get nice out. The weather's getting warmer and people throw out all kinds of nice, useful stuff. There was a set of 3 of these out on the road by my building, and I just grabbed one of them, but I figured it would be perfect to put on my desk to have my monitors on, and then I could organize all my paints and my paintbrushes and some of the arts and craftsy stuff in them so that I didn't have to be reaching onto shelves and all over the place when I'm in the middle of a project. So I think this thing's from IKEA once again. It's made of some kind of composite board or chipboard, and it's got this finished paint on it. So I'm gonna try taking it apart, give it a really light sand, and I'm just gonna spray it black, put it together, and then organize my desk. So perfect, let's get at it. So obviously the first step is to take everything apart, and I find it's really helpful when I'm doing projects that require me to take something apart and put it back together to make sure I know where everything's gonna go. If you have to take pictures, but when it comes to the point where you're gonna put it back together, you don't wanna be messing around and not know where everything goes and put things in the wrong place or be missing parts. And since we're just doing this, a refinished paint on this, we're not taking it completely apart, we're just taking it apart enough so everything that can be visible can be painted.
Now that I got it all torn apart, I'm just gonna sand it down. I'm not gonna worry too much about taking the hardware and the pins out because, you know, I'm just using this on my own desk, and it seems like it's in a little bit rougher shape than I thought, so I don't want to risk breaking anything and not being able to put it together. But I'm just gonna start off with a 100 grit sandpaper and just go over everything, just kind of rough the surface up just like when we did the metal credenza. This time I'm gonna start with a little bit of a finer sandpaper. And if I have to go rougher, I can, because you can always move up without risking too much. But if you start too rough and you end up with those big cracks, it's a pain to try and fix them. So I'm just gonna sand everything down and wipe it off and see how it goes.
So the purpose of sanding before you paint is to get rid of the glossy surface of the finish on the existing piece so that the paint has something to adhere to or to bond to. So you want to make sure that every single spot that is going to get painted is also going to get sanded, and while you're sanding it, you want to make sure you get off anything else that's going to interfere with the paint, whether that's stickers or goo or gunk or dirt. You're essentially sanding it, but also sanding it clean.
It's time for the wet rag so we can wipe them down and get all the dirt off, let them dry and paint.
So now that we're done with our sanding, we're going to get a damp or a wet cloth, and we're going to clean everything off and get all that dust and all that dirt off. Because if we don't do that and then we spray it, we're going to end up with a bumpy texture that's going to be very obvious, and it's not going to look as good unless that's what you're going for, in which case you're better off doing it specifically to get that finish. Once everything's clean and you either air dry it or dry by hand, just start spraying what you can and get a nice light even coat on everything and wait for it to dry, and make sure it's dry, not even tacky to the touch, before you flip it and spray everything else. Let that all dry again, and then go over everything and make sure there's nowhere that needs touch-ups. This is the time to do touch-ups so you can make sure there's no white peeking out, and then once it's all dry, it's time to move on inside and we can put it all back together. So I did measure my desk off before I did this project to make sure it was going to fit. I decided that I didn't want to risk banging it up on the way into the office when it was put together, so I'm just going to clear my desk off, bring all the pieces in, and put it back together on the desk. But first I'm going to wipe all the desk down and clean it, because I'm not sure when the next time I'm going to see this part of my desk is, so I might as well clean it now and then get to putting it back together, remember where all the pieces go, and we'll be all good. Puff saw me bringing all the stuff in and she got all fired up, wanted to make sure I was going to do it right, so she's here supervising. And just get our tools, put the top back on, tighten up all the screws, make sure all the pieces are going to be nice and solid. Now that everything's put together and it's nice and tight, it's time to do the drawers. So we're going to grab the hardware and put that back on. And there is 3 different settings. There's 3 set of holes, I guess, to allow it to come further out or to stop it from coming as far out. And I'm just going to put the middle holes in and see how it goes. And I did find that ended up being the perfect amount for me, because I don't really need to pull them really far out, especially if I'm doing projects or painting or something. I don't want the drawers to come out and take up the whole workspace that I have available. And this is just a little bit painstaking to make sure you get it in. It's a little bit of a tight area to be fiddling around in, but you want to make sure all of the brackets or all the sliders are set at the same depth so that when you're putting the drawers in, when they're coming out, they're just set properly. And then finally, the last step, put the drawers in, just kind of slide them. They have grooves that the sliders fit into, and just line up the holes so you can see the light through it, and then attach the screws to fasten them in, make sure they work. And you're laughing, that's That's it, we're set up. Now it's time to put everything back on the desk and set that stuff all up. I got everything done up. Here's the before, and here's the after. It looks way cleaner, way more organized. Here are the drawers. I got this drawer full of all my painting stuff for doing minis and whatever, and all my brushes organized. And this one, I put all my loose knickknacks and pencils and whatever else that was clogging up my desk.
All in all, I think this turned out pretty good. I'm super pumped. It makes my desk look much cleaner, sleeker, more organized, and I don't have to be reaching all over the place to get at all my stuff. If I was gonna do two things differently, I think I would sand a bit more. I definitely would still go with the higher grit sandpaper. The 100 was good enough because I didn't get any scratches on it that were visible. I just didn't really sand it enough because of that glossy surface it was on. I don't think the paint stuck as well, which was evident in the doors, which I also sprayed standing up, which is the second thing I probably wouldn't do again, is spray any surfaces that aren't lying flat. Here are the doors. You can see that there was a lot of runs. The paint kind of maybe went on a bit too thick and didn't really stick enough and ran down, but I only saw that problem happen really on the front of the doors where they were standing like that. Everything else turned out great, and it's not even really that bad. It's just, for next time, that's what I would do. So yeah, another fun project down. I'm super stoked about being able to upcycle stuff like this. Like, people throw out stuff and it's just like super useful if you can fix it up. So if you liked this project, hit the like button, leave me a comment, and hit that subscribe. We got lots more stuff coming up. Check out some other videos for more fun stuff you can do at home, and take care till next time. Bye-bye.